So, hi everyone. We're going to learn a little bit about COVID 19 and what happened the entire 1 year that just has passed in 2020. So, what happened is in China, first, back in 2019, uh, the novel coronavirus or nCoV 19 came out, and it was seen in patients, being diagnosed with pneumonia, and patients were actually having pneumonia and severe chest symptoms, and they were being admitted to the hospitals. But China didn't tell the world. They said that it's going to be a normal problem, so just another um, you know pneumonia is quite common, and everybody in the world, every country has it, so they didn't tell the world. So what happened is that some of the doctors, they actually broke this news, and they said that you know this there's a problem over here. So they said that there's a virus around, and this virus is very hazardous and probably going to infect a lot of other people, and it's going to spread. And there are a lot of more and more cases being diagnosed. So these doctors they sort of disappeared, and WHO found out. So WHO was the one which in Feb or Jan to Feb, sort of announced that there's a problem. So what happened after that is there were no any drugs. So there are no drugs, and what the manufacturers, the pharmaceutical manufacturers, are thinking that maybe it's just a virus, so we could use other antiviral drug like for SARS or for flu, or maybe use vaccines, like pneumonia vaccines for COVID-19, but it wasn't really working out, and they weren't effective. So what they did is they started finding out that what happens, and people started dying, and when people started dying, so they found out that there must be some way, there must be certain drugs. So there was one anti-malarial drug that came out. Anti-malarial drug. Malaria is caused by a mosquito, but hydroxyquinone, I'm sure I'm spelling it right, hydroxyquinone or chloroquine was the one that was announced, and even Trump announced it, that this probably be the cure for COVID-19. So, but what happened is later WHO said that this drug wasn't effective at all. So then this plan was also, it wasn't working, so it's not useful for treating COVID-19. So certain other anti-inflammatory drugs came out by different companies, and they anti-inflammatory drugs that were being used for joint diseases, joint disorders, which had a lot of inflammation. So, but those weren't effective as well. They were also not effective. So what happened is that in this time, at the same time, vaccine was being developed. So and Russia, China, and USA, and even UK were sort of racing towards, there was a race going on for a vaccine. So racing for a vaccine. So they finally, by the end of 2020, in the last quarter, there was a vaccine, and that vaccine was actually the COVID-19 antigen itself. So Pfizer made it, and AstraZeneca made it, and then there was a Chinese company, made Sinopharm. Okay, and then there was a Russian company which made Sputnik. So Sputnik 5, I guess, yeah. So there are different companies they were making, and now there are lots of other companies around the globe that are making vaccines. So these vaccines actually are sort of, some said initially, they said it was 95% effective, but it went down to 70% effective, and some went down to 50 or even lesser. So for efficacy, we're not sure. So there's a question mark that whether these are effective. So again, it's advised by doctors that use the drug, so use the vaccines. And so right now what the situation is that people are quarantining, so they're staying staying away 6 feet and distance, and then they're washing their hands, and then they're using all the safety masks, precautions, and then now they are vaccinating as well. So vaccinating is, and if you want to do anything, if you want to travel, so you have to vaccine. If you want to go outside your country, you got a vaccine. So eventually, I mean, it's not necessary right now, but for some countries, because there are not vaccines available everywhere, but this some of the countries now are making it mandatory to vaccinate if you want to travel, if you want to go somewhere. So that's the whole story. So vaccines are not effective as yet. The studies and effectiveness is still being evaluated, and we'll see when it works.